Hello! You clicked on it, you know what we're talking about. New music. I mentioned in another video that there's just a ton and ton of new music coming down the path, from new artists to legacy artists. It's no exception that there's a ton of duets and featured artists. There's been so many of them that I've had to make a completely separate playlist just for collaborations, and let's try to go through a few of them together. Maybe you'll find something that you want to listen to. Come back and tell me if I've turned you on to some new stuff that you hadn't heard before. Let's start with the new Charli XCX. She just released a version of her song Guess with featured artist Billie Eilish, which kind of extends her Brad Summer a little bit. She's building up to have the album of the year. Very, very hyper pop focused. It's not really my style so much, but I respect it a lot, and I like a lot of hyper pop. This stuff, I'm kind of confused because it's very overly sexualized, and I get Charli's kind of a sexual based artist, but I was under the impression that Gen Z and millennials in general are more apathetic and asexual at this point, so I'm not sure if that's going to cause some cognitive dissonance. But I listened to the original album version and the Billie Eilish version back to back, and she doesn't really add much except for allowing them to have some interplay together. The other thing I wanted to say was, it was kind of weird watching the video because it's a very active video and they're destroying stuff and dancing and all this stuff and walking down the street singing, and all the vocals are in a very, very whispered, quiet tone, so it kind of just a little bit of cognitive dissonance with that. But when I looked away from the video and just listened to the song, I thought it was okay. Nothing to write home about, but I wish all the best for Charli. She's an amazing artist, and she deserves to be in the spotlight. I found a song by Kygo and Ava Max, and Kygo is an electronic artist, so I debated on either considering EDM artists with a popular singer as duets or featured artists. Obviously they're a featured artist, but that's what most of them do now. I think David Guetta kind of started that whole thing back in the day with Sia and some other artists, and now all of them do it. It's the only way to have a hit. Usually there's a few of them that have had hits without having a featured artist, but it's way easier if you just grab a famous pop star and have them sing your song. Ava Max is kind of what you get if you bought Lady Gaga off of Temu. Changing directions a little bit, there's a song called Another Day by Neil Diamond and Natalie Maines from The Chicks. And I didn't expect to like it that much. I like Neil Diamond, but I'm not a huge fan. But this song was great. It's kind of a ballady song that builds up, and worth another listen. It stayed on my list for a little while. I listened to it a few times. We'll see how it sticks around. I think I mentioned before the Humphreys, McGee, and Huey Lewis cover of Let's Dance. Humphreys kind of gets categorized in the jam band because they play a lot of festivals and stuff, but they don't really have the style of a jam band. They're kind of just they're just a technically great band, great vocals. They always do mashups and covers and things. They have a whole album of mashups that they've taken two old songs and pushed them together, and this cover of Let's Dance is just amazing. Huey Lewis is playing harmonica on it, and I think I even said when I mentioned it in that other video that Huey Lewis has had some health problems lately. I think he hasn't been able to hear very well, so I'm glad to see he's back doing stuff. I'm not a huge fan of Huey Lewis's music, but I am a huge fan of him as a person. I've seen him acting on shows and things and interviews. He just seems like a real genuine down-to-earth guy, so I always hope the best for him. Orianthi, the guitar player that played with Alice Cooper and who else did she play with? Her new song is called First Time Blues and has a feature of Joe Bonamassa. And it's a typical bluesy kind of song. The riff is really fun. She does some neat little slidey things, and the Joe feature is basically just a solo at the end. But it's really good. I'll be listening to that for a while. Apocalyptica is a cello-based band that does metal covers. I used to have an album of them doing all Metallica covers. But their new song intrigued me because it said featuring Rob Trujillo and James Hetfield. And when I listened to it, it is a cover of the song One by Metallica. And it is phenomenal. The playing is great. James does more of a talking, like growl whisper thing, kind of like the spoken word from that Dark Side album. I don't really hear much of a contribution from Rob, but it's cool to see these guys out there still. The band Night Verses is an instrumental prog rock band that their new song features Brandon Boyd from Incubus, and it's really good. The music is real spacey, and I think they're guitar based, but I think they use a lot of synths and a lot of effects, and so the music is real super floaty. I've always loved Brandon Boyd's voice and melodies and things, so it's cool. A lot of people in the comments were just suggesting just join the band already, and who knows? We'll see what happens. Incubus themselves have re-recorded and released a modern version of their Morning View album, which is pretty good. So hopefully, if they're going to be touring, they might take this Night Versus band out with them. I'd like to see that. Some other heavy stuff. The artist Poppy, quirky. I don't even know what to call her. She was basically just a content creator, and then she decided to get into music, and then eventually she decided to do heavy music, and it was super weird and quirky, and now she's got new music out, and she's done a couple of collaborations with Bad Omens to speak of, and she does her weird little hyper pop thing over the top of their heavy music. And then the other one is collaboration with a band called Knocked Loose, which is just the most aggressive heavy crap that I've heard in forever. And it makes me laugh every time I listen to it, because it's just so in your face, just rah 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 rah. And and she fits in just perfect with that. And it's weird because those two collaborations, her contributions are way different. So I like to see that. I haven't had a chance to listen to her new solo stuff, but I expect some weird stuff, so I'll get back with you on that. Back in the pop vein, next up we got a song called My Oh My with BB Rexa, Kylie Minogue, and Tovolo. I don't know how you really say her name. I've heard it said like that, but I'm American, so I always say Tovolo, but I think it's Tovolo. She's amazing. All three of those ladies are amazing, and the song is super catchy. I like it a lot. I also found a mashup that has that song with Chaperone's Feminine Nomenon on it. Hey, I said it right the very first time. And so there's four of them together singing a song, which is kind of fun. It's neat hearing the three of them sing over the same parts and how they interpret it differently. But hopefully it gets a little bit of attention because it's a really good song. Speaking of Kylie Minogue, she's also got a new song with Sia. So there's two of my favorite female artists singing together. And speaking of Sia, in addition to her own solo music, she's also produced the new Paris Hilton album, which I kind of laughed when I saw that, but she's done a good job of making Paris Hilton actually look like a singer and an artist, so good for her. Whatever. We all grow, we all learn. Sheryl Crow has a new album out, and one of the songs I found that was kind of separated, couple of months before the new album came out, she had a song called Digging in the Dirt that featured Peter Gabriel, and when I dug a little deeper, no pun intended, the song's called Digging in the Dirt, I found out that that is actually an old Peter Gabriel song. So I feel like I've heard it before. Really good song, kind of more low key, but a good driving groove, super catchy melodies. I mean, Peter Gabriel's just amazing no matter what. So all right, let's change gears again. Let's talk about Falling in Reverse. They've got a super heavy screaming song called Ronald that intrigued me because the feature was Tech-9, and I was wondering how he was going to fit in with all of that screaming and aggression, but he comes in towards the end with a verse bridge thing, doing his thing, just rapping a million miles an hour. It's really solid. Not the hugest fan of a lot of that metalcore stuff, and a lot of people are not huge fans of Ronnie Radke in general, but he just keeps putting out good music, and good for him. I'm there for it. Speaking of Falling in Reverse, they've also got a song with Jelly Roll, which is the exact opposite. It's called All My Life, and it sounds like something I've heard before. I keep wanting to say like Offspring, or maybe not even that. It's catchy and kind of a dumbed down melody. I don't mean that in a bad way, but just go listen to this song and come back and please tell me what you think it sounds like, because it is something else. It is something else that I've heard before, and I just cannot place it, but it's good. I'll listen to that another time. And then taking off on the Jelly Roll, he's got a song now with MGK called Lonely Road, which is basically Take Me Home Country Roads with just rewritten lyrics. I'm hoping that Machine Gun Kelly doesn't think he's gonna do the Post Malone Jelly Roll thing and cross over into country, but whatever. If he does, then I don't have to worry about him too much. More heavy stuff. We've got Nothing More with a guest by David Draymond, and then Disturbed with the guest of Ann Wilson doing a song called Don't Tell Me, which is better than I expected it to be. Obviously, I love anything that Ann Wilson sings on. Her voice just goes right to my soul. But it's pretty good. And along those same veins, kind of heavy but ballady, Stained has a new song with Dorothy as a guest. And if you don't know who Dorothy is, if you like blues singing and especially female-based blues, hard rock, she's been around for a few years, and I love her stuff. I try not to platform Stained too much, but this song is called Better Days, and it was way better than I expected it to be. Code Orange is another band that I've heard songs of for the last couple of years, and normally they have a female singing the songs, and it's more alternative-y, if that's a word, heavy but alternative-ish. But this song was just heavy as shit, and the guy's just screaming all the way through it, and it really was intriguing because the feature was Billy Corgan, and didn't really trip my trigger. I didn't really like the heaviness. I didn't really like the heaviness of it so much, and Billy Corgan's part just seems tagged in at the end. It was almost like they just had him do something in the studio or had him send them something and they just tagged it on the end of their song. I don't know. It is what it is. And the last one I want to talk about is a band called Holy Name, which is a super heavy but more doomy kind of sound. And the feature was Head from Korn, and that made me look a little closer, and I realized the name of the band is Holy Name. So I assume they're kind of Christian based, which I don't really sanction the religion part of it, but it's not preachy, and it's, like I said, it's super doomy and heavy. So if that's your thing, go check it out. Alright, I'm going to leave it right there for now. I'm going to go and listen to some more new music, and I'll try to have another video out for you here real soon. So go and listen to some of this stuff that I mentioned, and maybe that'll lead you on to something else. The YouTube algorithm is just crazy nowadays, where if you just play something you like and then scroll the stuff underneath, or if you're on desktop to the side, it will suggest 10 more bands that sound just like that. So there's no excuse to not be listening to new music if that's what gets you excited. If you're one of those people out there that says there's no good new music out, well, I think that's a bunch of crap, because there's new stuff every single day coming out, from legacy artists, from old 70s and 80s artists to artists from 10 years ago to brand new stuff. So there's music out there. If you're looking for something new, you can find it. So go and listen to some new stuff, come back and tell me about it, and let's have a conversation. All right, I'm out.